Hello! We've just completed viewing the Oscar-nominated winning film Moonlight. So, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Mikhail. And this is...
Hello, my name is Anton.
And we're here to have a discussion about Moonlight.
Yes.
So, what did you think about Moonlight?
What did I think about Moonlight? I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
That I didn't like the film. But I didn't like it in a good way. Like, there are movies out there that have, like, very poor production value, and the way they're edited and filmed, and the content in the film is just poor and boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like it because it made me feel uncomfortable to watch.
This becomes very obvious in the very beginning of the film, I feel. And it's definitely a personal film, nothing against the director, but it has those moments that possibly as an artist for himself, maybe he had that calling to want to sort of reveal that. And the Oscars, God bless them, they have good intentions, I feel. And a great film, there's many elements to a film, and what it is not everything is going to be for everyone.
No, I could tell you that this is something that I have never seen before. Like, there are movies that look very similar and very much alike. But I really appreciate what they did with this film, and they took it a step further and tried something new, the way they filmed it, where there were parts of the film where they would do like 5 seconds of a scene, and then they would play out the rest of the scene that they just showed you 5 seconds of. So you're like, what's going on? They just jumped to something, and then they're playing out the scene, and you're like, oh, that's what the jump was for. I don't know why they did that. I don't feel like it helped the story in any way. But
a choice by the director.
But as like a directing and editing standpoint, that confusion and discomfort really hit me hard. It made me not like it, and it made me relate more to the character at the beginning where they're showing him as a kid. Because as a kid, his life is crazy, and he's trying to understand what's going around, where he's growing up in this horrible environment and everyone's fighting. And I think through that editing, you get to feel what it was like to be the kid.
Yeah, I felt confused.
You can't understand what's going on. What scene is where?
The first shot, I was talking to you about it, and it had to do with like being so like jumpy with looking around, and then that was what it was, that paranoia of the ropes of what it is to have being in a trap, the place where you do business and sell drugs.
Yeah, I think the cinematography, though, was absolutely brilliant with the shots that they used. And they did take long takes. It wasn't meant to be artistic long takes, kind of like The Master, when we watched The Master. They did that on purpose to make it seem beautiful and the character was lost.
Yeah.
But when they did long shots in this film, they made it build suspense. They made it build drama between the characters.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I really liked about it.
And it was cutting in between, like, a moment that you would think, are we done with it? But then it goes back to it, and he's still, like, pausing and thinking. And possibly, I guess, that's symbolic of the sort of thinking and mindset that the main character feels,
And there's shots in there that they used that I would have never thought that a theatrical film would use, which is one where there's the camera and it's strapped to the door of a car, looking inside towards the driver. So he's driving around, so you see him driving, but he stops to pick somebody up. They go around, they open the car door, and the camera, which is attached to the car door, starts moving with the door. And the guy sits in and he closes the door.
Yeah.
It's like a GoPro attached to something.
That's what
right?
I was thinking, yeah.
And, like, you would never see a regular cinema film do that. And, like, that's what I really liked about it. So I would say, like, if you're a cinematographer, I would absolutely watch this film, and I would say a lot of the lighting was pretty good, and the costume design, I think, was phenomenal. Like the character that would bully the little kid when he was small,
Yeah.
and the way he would dress up,
Baggy
and
clothes.
but like he would stand himself out. Like he would be in all red, so like you could tell that he's the bad guy. Well, without trying to make it like pop out at you.
Yeah, where you don't believe it, and it's kind of a caricature of the cliche villain, and that was, I liked it. The protagonist would be wearing the polo shirt,
Yeah.
and they look like, I'm here with my skinny jeans, wanting to have an education, not here to mess around, and yeah, I believe it because I personally was in, not necessarily in the projects, but somewhat of a suburban type school, and when you're in a predominantly made up of all African American students, you get that sort of hostility, and when you do see differences, people are afraid of different. So possibly that's maybe the reason why they want to bully people, especially Asians like me. And kids are just stupid. They're still figuring things out, but there's that ego behind them that they have to always feel like they know everything, and they can't cry, and they have to be hard. Being soft is a weakness. And it's funny, in Bruce Lee's book he said that the only reason why things are hard is because you are soft, but if you're hard, everything else is soft. So I thought that in a sort of scientific perspective, that's interesting.
What did you think about the speed of
the speed?
Was it too slow?
The
Did it
pacing,
play out too fast?
I feel like possibly it just went straight to just. Sometimes I felt like it was random. Like I felt like there wasn't enough dialogue. They would just be like, "Up, you didn't know that? Up," and then it just cuts. And I expected some dialogue.
They really don't show a lot of stuff. Like there's a scene where the mother is what we assume to have been a druggie facility, a AAA meeting, something. But you wouldn't know what it is because they don't show you exactly. They don't necessarily show you exactly what drugs they're doing or what kind of gangster bad stuff they're doing. All they do is kind of hint, oh yeah, I'm doing bad stuff.
So it's left to the audience's imagination.
So
which isn't bad, yeah.
I liked it a little bit, but I felt like they left it to the audience's imagination just a little bit too far.
Yeah. I know this film for sure would hit audiences that they have this type of experience. They're filling in those gaps that we're probably complaining about because we don't have that life experience of being in the projects, of being homosexual and trying to find belonging. And I hope that the people that this film reaches out, it really helps them and convinces them that there is hope in finding happiness in a rundown life that's full of disadvantages. But not saying that everyone should be like Chiron and be a drug dealer, but he found his way, and that was through love. And they alluded to that a lot. They said, I will always love you, but you can hate me. So it was always that love and hate sort of going back and forth.
That's true.
Yeah.
I felt like the film was very slow.
Yeah.
And there were parts of the film where I would just
want to kind of pause it.
I would get bored. I'm being honest. There were parts where my mind just started lingering, and I was just like, oh, all right. When is this going to end?
It's just awkward.
When's the next scene going to happen? But I felt like even though that was bad, I felt it was worth it when they got to the climax.
Mm-hmm.
Where at the end of each act, Mikael and I, we actually started cheering on
The main character.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we saw that. I don't want to spoil anything, but we saw it happening, and we were like, "Yeah, do it!" And
My buddy John, I have a friend that is just like Sharon, and I know he would be rooting for that protagonist as well. I remember he came and always, discussed with me of like the difficulties of being in that sort of situation, and I really empathize for those that are struggling, trying to find meaning. And for me, it sort of feels like a comedy at times, but I have to take the time to like take a step back and really understand where they're coming from, because just because you can joke around about like how men fail when they can't get that perfect woman, and the one that got away, I forget that in society this can actually be taboo, and God forbid, suicide rates, especially in predominant countries that are like very religious and against that, it could be hard to talk about, and I just want to let people know that there are good people out there that are willing to listen and help you through it. We're all just human beings trying to find love, and it's very uncomfortable, like you said.
Absolutely.
But the best medicine is laughter, so let's laugh our way through this in a good way. Yeah.
Who do you recommend this film for? Because it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, like there's majority black, people in the film, but I'd say they're the most. It would be even more uncomfortable for them, because
For black people to watch it?
I think about Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
That got so much criticism, but now that it's from a brother, people would just probably walk out of the theater. It's funny. I don't think there's a sort of racial target group for this.
I don't think so either.
I think there could be a lot of women that like it. Doesn't matter if they're white, black, Asian, but definitely there is a group, and perhaps I am oblivious of like that group. I took a class called Intro to Gay Plays, and just knowing that there was a whole, like, you can't group them up because they're different. Like, I always thought, gay people are people who are cross-dressers. No, that's not the case. Some of them are actually very masculine, but yet, they're sexually driven by feminine attraction from a man,
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the ones that are full-on drag, and then the ones that are like, they claim, or they're in a woman's body, stuck as a man, acting like a woman. I don't know how confused I can get with like just throwing around the different possibilities, but it's there. They call it the middle sexes, and that was weird. I remember people talked about the LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transsexual. For the longest time, I heard that the transgendered were even unaccepted by the gay rights movement, just because that was another agenda that was even more difficult to help support, just because the sort of right-winged people would claim, so then is incest okay, And then that made people very uncomfortable and didn't know how to, like, defend their belief systems, because it's like, how far are we going? You might as well, let animals marry with humans, and it's very uncomfortable, and, the only thing that we can do is just help support and be understanding. I'm still learning. Shoot. And if I offend anyone, I'm not sorry, because I'm still learning,
And it is a whole different chapter of life going into that LGBT stuff, and we honestly have no idea what their life is like or what they feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie is really good because it helps open up everybody's minds and
Dialogue.
and it helps people who aren't too aware of the LGBT community or how they feel. This might give a more like, not, I wouldn't say exact representation, but kind of showing them that there is sympathy there, and those people are the same, just like you and me, and that everybody goes through hardships like that.
Oh yeah, and we were talking earlier about films we've seen that are like this, and we can honestly say there's probably not a lot. Like up the top of my head, the only one that most people would know is Brokeback Mountain. But anything else, it's sort of like a void. And the only reason I've seen anything more was because I took a class and they introduced me to like Bent with Clive Owen and all of these theatrical type films. And it was a sort of like awakening when my gay friend actually was asking me, do you know any good gay films? And he had like such a broad list, and I said, wow, there's a whole like universe of ideas that I didn't subject myself to, probably because I always wanted to stay in a comfortable position. I didn't want to put myself out there, and because shoot, I might be getting criticism right now. People say, what an ignorant
Maybe
little,
you never know.
You never know.
But I gotta ask, have you seen La La Land?
Not yet.
You haven't seen La La Land?
I watch musicals. I still need to see.
I was gonna say, because this movie and La La Land are battling it out for the Grammys.
Are you
or the
serious?
The Oscar, whatever it was.
Oh wow.
And it's just a good question. I was gonna ask you, what do you think was better?
So I'm gonna watch that, and I'll have to get back to it.
And what deserved to win?
What deserved? Then that's political. It's very political, and I feel like all films deserve to win. But that'd be socialist. And I think the Oscar, or the people behind the Oscars, have good intentions, and they allow certain films to win because of an agenda.
I'm glad this one won.
Yes.
I love La La Land. I loved La La Land so much better than this film.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this film won.
It's one of those films where, wait a minute, we need to watch it because it won the Oscars. Why did the Oscars want this to win? And now you know. It's an enlightening film that tries to have us get out of our comfort zone and really ask questions.
I feel like this movie would be on the list of movies that after you watch, you become a better person.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I always watch, what's that racist film? Birth of a Nation. And that's a truly amazing film. But people will just say, Mikhail is an effing racist. But I say, no. The film work behind that is flawless. But do I believe in the story? No. Then I would be a racist. But just making the film, like, that's like, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It could be a great film, but make you feel terrible, And it truly did make me feel terrible, but it doesn't discount the fact that it was made very well, That would just, you gotta keep it separate, I think, Man, it's so hard to talk about
this
just
one?
like the characters.
Yeah,
like, is that all you could say? 3 words at a time? Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm definitely glad I watched this.
Me too.
I almost watched this film with a group of friends who are very crazy and drunk, and I'm glad I didn't, because they would not have understood what this film was about.
They wouldn't have given it a chance, I believe.
I don't think they would have. Maybe they even would have walked out.
Have a bad experience, like a nasty taste in their mouth. Oh, man. And that happens a lot. It's a sort of like miscommunication, especially when one side is not listening and we're just distracted. Maybe that's all we need. We need to put everything down and give our full undivided attention to one another. And perhaps we'll be able to have an actual plausible debate worth talking about. Because I feel like most politicians, they just want to talk. And then when it's the other person talking, they're not even listening. They're just waiting till they're done so they can talk again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they've already made up their mind that they don't want to listen, then it's pointless. You know?
So I'm putting this on my. You definitely need to watch this film one time in your life.
One time, just one time. You don't need that Brokeback. I mean, yes.
I haven't seen Brokeback Mountain, so I couldn't tell you anything about that.
It's not Game of Thrones like. It wasn't too graphic.
Oh yeah, that was one thing I need to mention. The graphic scenes weren't graphic. They were
beautiful.
It was beautifully
tasteful
filmed, and you could see a lot of love was put into how they made that film.
It's like two human beings getting together.
It's not like Game of Thrones where it cuts to
like raw meat, raw meat. Yeah. And then you just hear noises, and you're like, stop, just stop.
Yeah.
And then they're like eating, while the raw meat makes noise, and then we're in a predicament because now they have to fight. It's time to fight. And it's awkward.
So yeah.
It's good. But thank you for listening. This was a pleasure.
Enjoy the film when you watch it.
And let me know what you thought. Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite gay movie? Everything. Just talk about my shirt.
I think it's a pretty good shirt.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
I got it. A friend gave it to me when they went to Disneyland.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Right.
It's my only Mickey Mouse shirt. And that's weird because I really like Mickey, you know. Maybe when Kingdom Hearts 3 finally comes out, I'll get, like, a nice shirt.
All right. Enjoy the film, guys.
What was that thing there? Hiya.
What are we doing?
I want to do, like, a special send-off. What does Melinda do?
You want to do Melinda's send-off?
Yeah.
It's, it was like, live life, always laugh, and enjoy... Hang on. No, she goes, live life, always laugh, and enjoy the journey. And then she, like, smacks the camera.
And then we wink.